The F-35 sucks at dogfighting. It's slower than a 1970s F-16. It costs more than its weight in gold. Critics call it the biggest disaster in military history. And yet, it has a 20-to-1 kill ratio. 0 combat losses. Every nation that flies it is ordering more. China is spending hundreds of billions trying to counter it. Russia's scrambling to catch up. America's building over 2,000 of them. So what's going on here? How can the worst fighter jet also be the most lethal? Today, I'm breaking down this paradox. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why America's enemies are terrified of an aircraft that, on paper, looks like a failure. Welcome to Defense Ninja. Let's get into it. Right now, over 1,000 F-35s are operational worldwide. The United States, the UK, Japan, South Korea, Norway, Italy, Australia, every allied nation that flies this aircraft is ordering more. And here's the statistic that should terrify America's adversaries: 0. That's how many F-35s have been shot down in combat. Despite flying in some of the most dangerous airspace on the planet. Despite going up against advanced Russian and Chinese-made air defense systems. 0 losses. So what makes this aircraft untouchable? What technology is inside this machine that makes it so dominant? I'm breaking it all down, piece by piece. Stay with me. Let's address the elephant in the room. The F-35 program has been absolutely destroyed by critics for over 2 decades. Too expensive. Too slow. Too heavy. Can't turn. Can't dogfight. The media ran hundreds of stories about cost overruns, technical failures, and development disasters. Pentagon officials got grilled in congressional hearings. Defense analysts predicted the program would be canceled. Some called it the biggest waste of taxpayer money in history. And you know what? Some of those criticisms were valid during development. But here's what the critics fundamentally misunderstand. This program wasn't just building one airplane. It was building 3 completely different variants. One for the Air Force. One for the Navy that can land on carriers. One for the Marines that can take off and land vertically like a helicopter. They were creating an entirely new global supply chain from scratch. They were developing sensor technology that didn't exist. They were inventing stealth coatings that had never been tested. They were writing millions of lines of software code for systems that had never been attempted before. This wasn't just building a fighter jet. This was building the entire future of air warfare. The infrastructure, the training, the maintenance networks, the weapons integration, everything. And after 20 years of development, tens of thousands of test flights, and constant refinement, that future has arrived. And it's not just working. It's dominating every aircraft it faces. Let's talk about what makes the F-35 truly terrifying. Stealth. But I'm not talking about Hollywood movie stealth where planes magically turn invisible. I'm talking about real, physics-based, radar-defeating technology. The F-35's radar cross-section, how big it appears on enemy radar screens, is about the size of a golf ball. A golf ball. For comparison, an F-15 Eagle shows up on radar like a large truck. A Russian Su-27? Same thing. A Chinese J-11? Massive radar signature. But what does this actually mean when bullets start flying? In red flag exercises, the most realistic and brutal air combat training on Earth, F-35 pilots routinely achieve kill ratios that sound like video game scores. 20-to-1, 30-to-1. In some exercises, even higher. But it's not just about numbers. It's about how those kills happen. Enemy fighters scramble. They know something's wrong. Their ground-based radar stations are going crazy. Surface-to-air missile batteries are activating. Pilots are scanning the sky desperately. But they see nothing. Their radar displays are empty. And then, from 70 miles away, a missile launches from an F-35 they never detected. By the time their radar warning systems scream at them, it's already too late. The missile is seconds away. They try to evade, but without knowing where the threat came from, their maneuvers are useless. But another enemy fighter becomes a fireball. That's the reality of 5th-generation stealth. You don't see the fight coming. You just die. But unlike the old F-117 Nighthawk that could only drop bombs and needed fighter escorts to protect it, the F-35 does everything. Air-to-air combat? It'll shred enemy fighters. Ground attack? It can strike targets deep behind enemy lines. Electronic warfare? It can jam and blind enemy radar systems. Intelligence gathering? Its sensors collect more data in one mission than an entire squadron of older aircraft, all while remaining nearly invisible. And here's the tactical flexibility that makes commanders love it. For deep penetration missions into heavily defended territory, pilots fly with weapons hidden inside internal bays. Full stealth mode. But if you need overwhelming firepower for a major strike, load external weapons in beast mode, 22,000 pounds of bombs and missiles. The F-35 becomes a flying arsenal. One aircraft, every mission, any threat environment. Now here's where the F-35 goes from impressive to absolutely game-changing. Stealth makes you hard to kill, but the F-35's real superpower? Something called sensor fusion. And this technology is revolutionary. Let me paint you a picture of what older fighter pilots deal with. You're in the cockpit pulling 6 or 7 GS in a turning fight. Your radar screen shows some targets. Your infrared sensor shows different information. Your electronic warfare system is screaming warnings. Your data link is displaying data from other aircraft. Your missile warning system is going off. All different screens. All different information. And you have to mentally process all of it, correlate it together, figure out what's a threat and what's not, make split-second decisions, all while your body is being crushed by G-forces and you're trying not to die. That's cognitive overload. That's where mistakes happen. That's where pilots get killed. The F-35 changes everything. It has 6 different advanced sensors running simultaneously. An ESA radar that tracks hundreds of targets at ranges over 100 miles. An electro-optical targeting system with infrared sensors that can detect enemy aircraft by their heat signature. A distributed aperture system with cameras covering every angle providing full 360-degree awareness. An electronic warfare suite that detects and identifies every radar and radio signal in the battlespace. And here's the magic. The F-35's computers automatically fuse all of that information together into one single, crystal-clear display. No multiple screens. No confusion. No mental gymnastics required. The pilot sees one perfect picture of the entire battlefield. Every threat is automatically identified with its type, range, and danger level. Every target is prioritized. The aircraft's computers even recommend tactics based on the tactical situation. It's like having the world's best co-pilot who never gets tired, never makes mistakes, processes information at computer speed, and has perfect situational awareness of everything happening within 200 miles. Fighter pilots who transition from F-16s or F-18s to the F-35 describe it as going from flying blind to having godlike vision of the battlefield. But wait, it gets even more insane. Every F-35 in the air is connected through advanced secure data links. Not just simple radio communication. I'm talking about high bandwidth, jam-resistant, encrypted data sharing. Every sensor on every F-35 is sharing information with every other F-35 in the battlespace in real time. If one F-35 detects a threat 150 miles away, every friendly aircraft in the network knows about it instantly. Not through voice communication, not through data link messages. Instantly, automatically, it just appears on everyone's display simultaneously. For F-35s working together don't act like 4 individual fighters. They act like one organism with 4 bodies and perfect coordination. Military strategists call this information dominance. Pilots call it the quarterback effect. Because the F-35 doesn't just fight, it commands the entire battlefield. It can detect threats that older 4th-generation fighters like F-16s and F-15s can't see on their radars, then feed that targeting information directly to those aircraft, turning them into long-range missile trucks. It can guide weapons fired from Navy destroyers sitting 100 miles offshore, directing them to targets those ships could never find on their own. It can coordinate close air support for Army and Marine units on the ground, providing real-time intelligence and precision strikes. One F-35 makes every single friendly asset more effective. It's not just a fighter, it's a force multiplier for your entire military. Traditional air combat is like a boxing match where each fighter is trying to coordinate punches while half-blind. Fighting with F-35s is like having a hive mind. Perfect information, perfect coordination. Every aircraft seeing the same complete picture, executing complex tactics without even needing to talk. It's not just better technology, it's a completely different way of waging war. Okay, so everything I've described sounds absolutely incredible. Sensor fusion, networking. So, it sounds like science fiction, but does it actually work in real combat? When real missiles are flying and people's lives are on the line? The answer is an overwhelming yes. Multiple allied nations have flown the F-35 in combat operations in some of the most dangerous airspace on the planet. They've conducted strikes deep in hostile territory. They've operated against advanced Russian-made air defense systems, the same systems that can shoot down older aircraft. While specific mission details remain classified for operational security, military commanders from nations flying the F-35 in combat have publicly stated that the aircraft has exceeded every expectation and fundamentally changed their capabilities. The United States Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps have all deployed F-35s to combat zones, strikes against ISIS, operations in contested airspace, missions that would have been considered too risky for fourth-generation aircraft. And that statistic I mentioned at the beginning? 0 F-35s lost to enemy action. Not one. Ever. Meanwhile, enemy aircraft and air defense systems that pose serious threats to F-16s, F-15s, and F-18s, they're being neutralized before they ever get a chance to engage. Destroyed before they even know an attack is happening. That's the difference between fourth and fifth generation warfare. It's not even a fair fight. Here's what separates the F-35 from every other fighter jet in history. It never stops improving. Through something called continuous capability development and delivery, every F-35 receives regular software and hardware upgrades throughout its entire service life. Think about your smartphone. Every few months, you get a software update with new features, better performance, security patches. The F-35 works the same way, except instead of new emojis, you're getting improved weapons systems, enhanced sensor capabilities, better electronic warfare tools, and extended range. Block 4 upgrades rolling out right now are adding more weapons capacity, better sensors, improved networking capabilities, and longer combat radius. An F-35 built in 2024 is significantly more capable than one built in 2018. Same airframe, same engine, but vastly superior software and systems. And it will continue evolving until 2070 and beyond. Compare that to older fighters. An F-16 built in 1985 is basically the same aircraft today. Sure, you can bolt on some new equipment, but you're fundamentally limited by the original 1970s design. The F-35 was designed from day one to be a platform that evolves with technology. Whatever sixth-generation capabilities we develop in the future, many of them will be integrated into the F-35 through software updates. It's not just a fifth-generation fighter. It's a constantly evolving weapons system that will remain cutting-edge for decades. So let's answer the question. Why does the F-35 still own the sky? Because it represents a fundamental revolution in air warfare. Modern combat isn't about dogfighting anymore. It's not about who has the fastest jet or the most maneuverable aircraft. It's not even about who has the best missiles. It's about information. Seeing the enemy first, understanding the battlefield better, making decisions faster, coordinating forces more effectively. The F-35 sees everything first. It understands the situation first. It strikes first. And it does all of this while remaining a ghost to enemy sensors. It doesn't just win battles, it makes fighting back almost impossible. It makes aggression too costly for any adversary to even attempt. There's a reason China is desperately trying to develop their J-20 to counter it. There's a reason Russia rushed the Su-57 into production despite ongoing problems. There's a reason every near-peer adversary is scrambling to develop 5th-generation capabilities. Because the F-35 is the new standard. It's the benchmark that defines what air superiority means in the 21st century. Is it perfect? Is it expensive? Absolutely. Has the program had problems? Without question. But is it the most dominant, most capable, most lethal fighter aircraft in the sky today? Without a shadow of a doubt. And every day, it's getting even better. This is Defense Ninja, and I hope you found this deep dive valuable. What's your take? Is the F-35 worth the cost, or are the critics right? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely want to hear different perspectives, and I read every single comment. If you want more breakdowns like this on cutting-edge military technology, the real capabilities behind these weapon systems, and what makes modern warfare tick, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching Defense Ninja. Stay informed, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.